What's up, guys? Eric here with Team Eccentric, and I'm bringing you my 6th place Mermail Atlantean deck profile from the Rochester Regional at Millennium Games. Aside from all that, make sure you guys check out getbelligerent.com. We got all sorts of cool apparel, all sorts of hats, belts, shirts, hoodies, beanies, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, check out the site. Show some support. We would really appreciate it. What's up, guys? Eric here with Team Eccentric, and so this past weekend I did something rather notable. I took Mermail Atlanteans to the Rochester Regional at Millennium Games, and I managed to take 6th place, so I got into the top 8. I had some really good matchups. The deck did exactly what I wanted it to do, and I just feel like this deck really performed. I mean, I've never topped an event before, so I'm pretty happy. I ended up actually managing to get my invite with Mermail Atlanteans, my favorite deck. So, yeah, this deck definitely performed. It did exactly what I wanted it to do, for the most part. There was one matchup where I kind of misplayed, and it's more a factor of human error than anything else. But all that aside, we'll just get right into the profile. I mean, it's pretty standard stuff for the most part. So we're obviously doing the triple Neptibus. That's kind of standard, right? Triple Atlantean Dragoons. Triple Mermail Shadow Squad, Triple Mermail Abyss Teus, Triple Abyss Rhine the Atlantean Spirit, Triple Mermail Abyss Pike, and the double Poseidra. So that's, I feel like, kind of without saying, that's like the standard Mermail engine, right? You have your Neptibus as the starter, you have your Atlantean Dragoons as the searcher, you have your squad as extension, you have Teus, Rhine as extension, Pike as an additional normal summon that can also be extension, you have your Poseidra, which is the ability to clear 2 cards, and this card really went in, to be honest with you. I would say that this card is probably the MVP of the main deck in my opinion right now, especially in scenarios where you're going second. Just being able to clear at minimum 1 card, 2 cards, it can clear a card and get your engine rolling. Like, this card is nuts. And it applies pressure to decks like Dracotail because you're forcing out their Dracotail traps before you even commit your normal summon, and that's something that I feel like this deck really normally would struggle against, is back row, but Poseidra really gave this deck a new dynamic in the sense that it could play through back row by just not committing its normal summon so quickly, not relying on Neptibus to clear cards. So that's something that I feel like this deck is good at. So that's it for the core engine of Mermails and Atlanteans so far. Here. Then, for the other waters, we have Mooling Glacier, the Elemental Lord. Obviously, we're trying to rip cards from my opponent's hand. Anytime this card came down in a game where I went first, I won the game. So that's something that is probably of note. This card is absolutely nutty, just being able to rip 2 cards from your opponent's hand. We all know the card is nuts. I mean, it's been nuts ever since it came out. We have Coelacanth. This is the essentially the win condition of the deck at this point. I do thoroughly enjoy the Coelacanth line now, which is funny because back before, like around Rage of the Abyss, I swore against this card. Now this card is easily the win condition of the deck, aside from Barrier Statue of the Torrent, which we all know is the actual win condition of the deck. You get this on your board, you're likely to win if your opponent can't clear it. There was actually a game where I was playing against Yummy. I think it was round 7, it was round 7, I think. And I just normal summoned the Barrier Statue. I had Barrier Statue, Pike, Imperm, Ash, Barrier Statue, Pike, Imperm, Ash, and then I had one other card that wasn't really relevant. And I think, yeah, so it was another card that wasn't relevant. And I just and it was against Yummy, so I normal summoned the Barrier Statue, set the Imperm, and had the Ash in hand, and then hoped to draw something later. And because Yummy, their cards are small, and I had the Imperm and the Ash that kind of kept him off of plays, he tried to normal Cupsy. I activated Imperm, targeted his Cupsy so that he couldn't get searches, and I didn't want to play into Thrust or Talents, so I Impermed instead of Ashed immediately. And then from there, the Ash Blossom kept him off of more cards, and then I went Statue Beatdown for the first like 4 turns, and then eventually I saw Poseidra and then went in. So I really think this card really is what unfortunately makes the deck playable at this point. Coelacanth Moulin definitely add a lot of power to the deck and you know, make your opponent go minus, but the barrier statue is really like what you want to see on your end board at all times. Then we have Deep Sea Minstrel. Obviously, I only play one in the main. I know some people swear by two, but I only play one, and to be honest with you, every time I resolve Deep Sea Minstrel, it never really hindered me in any way to where I was like going super minus or anything. And not only that, Minstrel always came up whenever I needed it. I mean, whenever I resolved Atlantean Dragoons, you know, I would resolve Neptibus, I'd send Dragoons, add Dragoons, then Dragoons would add Minstrel, and I'd immediately get a peek into their hand, and I always rip the hand traps. So like, the card's nuts. I mean, it goes without saying. Then we have the one Gluttonous Reptolfin Grethus. This card is just the other Coelacanth target that allows you to Synchro Summon. It also has a Reborn effect, but the card you Reborn can't use its effects for the rest of the turn, so there's that to keep note of. Besides that, I mean, the card also can chain block by giving the monster that it synchros into an extra 200 attack points per card in your opponent's hand at the time of Synchro Summon. So that's something that you can really kind of play with, and if you're trying to really beat over something, it can allow you to do that. And then the one Atlantean Heavy Infantry, obviously as the last disruptive tool on our end board. You know, you can end on something like Mermail Basilacia with Heavy Infantry in hand, or have Rhine with Heavy Infantry in hand, and that'll just get you another pop. And that's something that I did against DDDs in my second match. So round 2, I was playing against DDD, and I actually played DDD as well. And I know the deck pretty much inside and out in terms of like what the cards are trying to do. So in game 3 against DDD, I had the Rhine and I had the Heavy Infantry in hand. He full-losed me, so I just hand looped him, and then you know, he still had the DDD Queen Machinax in his hand, so I figured I'd establish Rhine Engraved with this in hand, and I had no real interruptions on the field, but I knew he had the Queen Machinax, and that's all he had because I hand looped him because he full-losed me, which, by the way, is the plan for Mermail in my opinion. If you get full-losed, just summon everything from the hand and hand loop. But regardless, so he activated the Queen Machinax as basically his last play. So I went Rhine, Banish, Ditch, draw, and then Heavy Infantry to pop. So that sealed that game for me. So that's that for the main deck engine monsters. Then we have spells. So we have 2. We actually are playing the Abyss Sting Triana again. I was playing 1-for-1, and to be honest with you, I just feel like 1-for-1 getting ashed really hurts because you're going minus another card. So you're like dropping 2 to get nothing if you get Ash Blossomed, and if you don't get Ash Blossomed, it's like, okay, it's okay, you know, you see Neptibus, but all the same, it's like, this can apply pressure if you have a side drain in your hand or in your grave. Then we have 1 Prosp. I debate whether or not I want to play 1-for-1 or Prosp, but I think Prosp in this tournament really did me a lot of good because it allowed me to bait Ash Blossoms and do things of that nature, while also you know, allowing me to dig for cards that I would otherwise need in sided games. And I feel like that's just way too invaluable. Like, you need to see your sided cards in games 2 and 3. So then for the non-engine in the main, we have the triple Fugalos, obviously, right? Triple Perulia, triple Ash Blossom, triple Imperm, triple Impulse. I feel like this is pretty much standard for most Mermail lists at this point. Some people might not be playing the Imperms, they might be playing the Drolls, but I feel as if Imperm is still a solid breaker / hand trap, and that's something that I think is also invaluable. The fact that it can act as both a breaker and a hand trap. Very, very valuable. And obviously the Perulias are waters, so that's why we main them, is because we can use them as fodder for our other cards. So then we'll get into the extra deck. So the extra deck is as follows. We're playing 1 Mermail King Neptibus. This card put in a lot of work. I've been just making it so that my barrier statue was untargetable, and you know, Gaios was untargetable. Like, this card also, its effect to equip from the deck in sided games is amazing. Just being able to equip the Abysscale Mizuchi from your deck to it makes it so that it invalidates your opponent's first spell card they would resolve. So like inside games, and like in like a game 3 scenario where I'm going first, I would make this, send a water for cost to activate another water monster's effect, trigger this, activate the equip spell from the deck after hand looping them, and then I'd sit on a board of this, Statue, Gaios, and either Abyss Alacia or Ice Jade, Gummirage Ring. And then if my opponent would do something that would be resolving a spell card, the spell would fall off, and then I'd attempt to resolve another water monster effect to send for cost, and then I would re-equip. So I basically get 2 spell negates out of one move, which is really kind of the way I feel like this card should be played. That's like one of the main reasons the card is designed the way it is, in my opinion. Then we also have MERMAIL of Alacia. This is just kind of another end board piece. Just being able to send cards from your hand to the graveyard, so that way you can start triggering effects. And we also have Mermail's Coral Anemone. This is your Monster Reborn. It's usually used in combo, but in scenarios where you're going second, I mean, this card can be an invaluable tool in getting recursion and looping your cards. Then we have Abyss Keeper. Honestly, this card never came up. I mean, I think I would still continue to play this, only because if you see the Coelacanth in your hand, you want to get it out of your hand. And there are other ways that you can summon the Coelacanth from the graveyard, i.e. Abyss Trite, but I would rather use my Abyss Trite to extend further, rather than to have to send the Coelacanth and then bring it back. I feel like that's just kind of too many moving steps. I feel like that's not really as adequate. So that's the link monsters. Then for the Xyz monsters, I actually upped Poseidra Abyss up to 2. So the reason why I'm playing 2, originally I was playing 2 because I wasn't playing the Abyss Sting Triana, but I bumped it up to 2 because of that. However, in playing 2, I realized that I really do think this card is a win button pretty much. The fact that it soul charges 3 waters that are level 3 or lower from field or hand, and then on top of that, its effects aren't once per turn. It's once per turn per copy. The only thing that's once per turn with this card is that you can overlay it on top of a Mermail or Atlantean Xyz monster, aside from hard making it. So that's something that I think this card is just nuts. I think 2 of this card is actually kind of correct right now. That's just my personal take. Next we play Mermail of Gaios. This is another end board piece that allows us to negate cards. And also it keeps people who are playing higher level monsters off of attacking. Then the Abyss Trite. Abyss Trite is basically a Monster Reborn. It also gives monsters that are water extra 300 attack points per material attached to it, which can come up in scenarios where you bring out the barrier statue with material underneath it, because then you make the barrier statue big enough that not too many cards can actually just hit over the barrier statue alone. So that's something that I think is also very strong, is the ability to just make cards bigger with the Abyss Trite. Then we have the One Snow-Dust Giant. This card, I went back to this card. I feel like this card, unfortunately, is one of the cards that really allows you to see combo. It really makes your combo a lot more fluid. And on top of that, there are weird scenarios where you have the barrier statue out and you manage to keep this on the board somehow. So you'll detach, you'll reveal 2 or 3 waters, and then all your opponent's non-waters will lose 200 attack points per ice counter, which can make it so that they can't swing over the barrier statue in certain scenarios. So that's something that could come up. Lavirtue Dragon. This card was pretty valuable all day. It was just a recursion tool, just being able to get back the Atlantean Dragoons to get more searches off of my discards. I never really used it otherwise for that. So that's it for the Xyz monsters. Then for the Synchros, we have the Ice Jade, Gummirage Ring. So originally I played this card, then I switched to Cheng Ying, which I did like, but I found some downsides with, and then I switched back to this card. So the reason why I switched back to this card is because I feel as if with Yummy being part of the format, I personally feel as if Evenly Matched is really good against Yummy, but Evenly Matched doesn't work against Ice Jade, Gummirage Ring. Reason being because The way Ice Jade is worded, it says that cards on your field can't be banished, not that your opponent can't banish your cards, right? So if they activate evenly matched, you can chain the Azurine, and then they can't banish your cards, or your cards can't be banished. So that's something that I feel is also very valuable. So yeah, that's something. And then on top of that, if your opponent has Raigeki, Lightning Storm, you can just protect your whole board that way. Then we went to Trishula. So Trishula is in here as a hand looping tool, yes, but also as a means to get another banished card. So that way, if you don't want to put a hand trap back into your opponent's hand, you can try and rip one more card away. So that way you can use Minstrel to put back the less optimal banished card back into your opponent's hand, and then you can use when the not Minstrel, Prima Donna rather. When you use Prima Donna's effect, when it's sent to grave, you can shuffle back the better banished card back into the deck. So like there's a lot of freestyling and kind of molding plays around what you're banishing out of your opponent's hand. That's something that is very important with this deck, is knowing exactly what you're going to banish and knowing how you're going to banish it and where you're going to put it when it comes back, if it comes back. So then we have the Adamancipator Risen Dragite. So this was just in here as a spell or trap negate. It was another inboard piece, very strong. Then we have the Prima Donna. This is probably one of the more unfair cards in the deck, just being able to summon Barrier Statue from the deck. That's like part of the win condition of this deck is you make this, put a banished card that you send off a Minstrel back into their hand, and then you summon Barrier Statue. And if the card that you put back into their hand is Nib, they can't use Nib at that point because Barrier Statue's already hit the field. So that's something that I think makes this card definitely well worth it. And I played this card before the new support even came out. And I knew the Barrier Statue lock, so like that's something that is not new, it's just more efficient now. Then we have the White Oromonoceros. White Oromonoceros is just an extension tool, just being able to revive another fish monster and just allow you to really build your board and recur more resources. So that's it for the extra deck. Now we'll get into the side deck. Now the side deck, I think there were 3 cards in here that I really think could have been a little bit different, and we'll start it off with 3 Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, and these are the cards that I think could have been different. I wanted to test these out against Yummy, and to be honest with you, this didn't really help me in the Yummy matchup. I mean, I know that in theory, Phantasme is supposed to allow you to protect your cards from being targeted by Yummy cards when they bounce, as well as the fact that when they summon Yummy Snatch, you get to cycle more cards into your hand and then like put away engine requirements. But I just feel as if this card really didn't do much. It didn't help me to beat over the Herald or anything. It just wasn't. It wasn't really all that spectacular in my opinion. And to be honest with you, I would have. If in hindsight, I think I should have sided Raigeki rather than this, because Raigeki would have at least forced the Yummy players to respect, a board breaker, just wiping their field, ultimately making them have to tribute away the Herald. So that's something that I feel like this card wasn't really all that relevant in my opinion. I sided it once and then I never sided it again the entire tournament through. Then Triple Ghost Spell. This came in a lot of my matchups and games, decided games where I was going second. And to be honest with you, this card put in a lot of work, especially against DDD and especially against one of my Yummy matchups. This card put in a lot of work. Then Droll and Lockbird. I noticed that Droll and Lockbird, it's still decent. It still does a lot against certain matchups at certain times, but sometimes it's not as relevant. It just depends really on the matchup and at what stage of their combo you draw into the Droll off of your normal Charmies. Then 2 Minstrel, the other 2 Minstrels that would otherwise be in the main. These, what can I say? You side these in when you know you're going first. And that's honestly really the entire strategy, right? Like you have the 1 Minstrel in your main. Obviously, in case you do go first, you can kind of search it off of Dragoons, but you don't want to open multiples. However, when you know you're going first, you play all 3 of these and you just side out all your hand traps, or whatever hand traps are irrelevant. So things like the Phobuloses, even the Perulias, like you just side all that stuff out and you just side in going first tools, like these Minstrels, the Abyss Scale, the Mizuchi, or the Called By. So these were my siding patterns. going first is I would side out the mulch armies, and then I'd side these and these in, figuring that this being a trap card, I could at least set it on my field and have something to mitigate my opponent's combo with if they were going second. So like the side patterns were, if I was going first, I'd side out the mulch armies and I'd side these in. If I was going second, I'd side out like going first tools like barrier statue, Moulin. I'd even side out the entire coelacanth package with two of the 3 pikes and the fish, the Greethus, and I'd side in whatever hand traps I needed, and I just kind of like mitigate from there. So that's really like how I function with the deck, and I think it ultimately played out very well. My one loss was to Yummy, and it was more so human error, a misplay on my part. Otherwise, we would have gone to game 3, and then it could have been anybody's game. But I did get 2-0'd by one Yummy player in particular, and it was my mistake. However, I won't say that I would have won that game regardless, because he knew exactly what my deck did, so he was able to kind of prepare for it. But aside from that, every other matchup I had was either hard fought, or if not hard fought, it was pretty decisive. I mean, Mermail is just a deck that does a lot. I mean, just being able to look at your opponent's hand, get the knowledge that you need in order to craft the perfect board to crack down your opponent's entire strategy. I mean, the deck is great. I mean, it's been great, and you guys know I've been playing this deck since 2016, since Naptibus was first printed. I mean, I still have my first edition Breakers of Shadow Naptibuses, and I still love this deck to this day, and it's not gonna change anytime soon. Although I may put it on retirement for just a week or two, and I might try DDDs at locals. We'll have to see. But as of right now, this deck made me very proud and very happy to be playing it. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I really appreciate the views you guys give us. I also wanted to note that so Belligerent Lifestyle and Apparel is my skateboarding sponsor, as you guys have probably heard me drone on about. Belligerent Lifestyle Apparel, it's a professional skateboarding brand which I ride for. I am actually a pro on the team, and I am going to be getting ankle surgery so I can start skateboarding again soon. But I just wanted to put that out there, that if you guys could maybe just check out the links, if you guys want any merch, any clothes, or anything like that, I'd really appreciate some support. It'd really be sick. You guys see the apparel. I mean, I'm wearing the hat, I'm wearing the shirt. It's definitely the best brand. Austin, the owner, is the nicest dude. He's so kind. So like, if you guys want to just show some support, show some love, just head to getbelligerent.com. Get your supply, get your things as supplies last. Austin makes it so that not everybody's gonna get the same clothes all the time. There's gonna be some limitations on, like, oh yeah, we're not gonna be mass producing like clothes like crazy. Like, people will have individual styles of clothes that they get that might change from season to season. So it's not as if everybody's going to be wearing the same shirt within the same season. It's like there's always going to be different styles and things like that. And that's what I really like about the brand, is Austin tries to keep it original. So if you guys could really it would be just appreciated if you guys could show your support. But Eric here with Team Eccentric, now finally topping a regional after years of grinding with this deck. I appreciate any views you guys give us, and Eric here with Team Eccentric, and I'm signing out.